Working look fucking pissed too. Like he did not want to
Yeah,
be
bro,
there.
you gotta work on
Even
Thanksgiving.
though they getting holiday pay for working, they still ain't happy to be there. All right.
Oh yeah, the colonel's cutting them a check for show.
Uh huh.
We was talking about the police, bro, working on Thanksgiving being hella mad.
Yeah. They're trying to be at home.
They trying to catch whoever they can catch, bro. They
Uh
getting
huh. They mad just because they got to be there.
yeah,
Oh, they were
Couldn't get that shift off. Nobody wanted to trade with them.
yeah.
Yeah.
they're getting people.
COs is the same way, man. They'll make your
Dude,
ass.
CEOs make it miserable in the
Oh
day.
man, they lock your ass down, bro. They don't want to do shit, bro.
Yeah,
They just
that's
lock your ass down for the entire time. You're lucky if you get out time that day.
yeah, for real.
Shut up
Um,
and be happy with your little piece of fucking turkey and fucking canned fucking cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
So tell me why I just watched a video where the whistleblower is saying that Campbell's has been 3D printing meat for hella years, bro. Throwing it in
Oh
the soup.
yeah.
I've seen that too.
You just found that out. That's
Well,
that's
JD
crazy,
posted it, and
though.
I fuck with JD super tough. So
Oh yeah, JD.
when he posts shit, like especially if it piggybacks off something we just discussed, because we were just discussing
Yeah.
the food and the fucked up shit and the
Yeah.
bioengineer. So his
Yeah.
shit piggybacked off of that, and I'm like, oh, that's lit. Somebody's covering some shit that I was covering,
Yeah,
type
yeah,
shit, you know?
we're on the same.
Yeah, wavelength. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
sure.
So that was dope. We ran up in there. All my folks, though, we appreciate you. How y'all doing? How y'all been? Thanks for being here. This is episode 20, man, the white episode. You know what I mean? We're gonna push the boundaries tonight, folks, but we gotta get them in here. We're gonna talk about yeah, all kinds of shit, bro. Racial tension in the fucking 80s, 90s, early thousands versus now. We're gonna talk about political push of fucking basically modern day segregation. I mean, we're gonna kind of dive into it all, but we got to get some people in here before we get too crazy, man. So
Yeah.
you know, kick back, get them in, hit that like, get that algorithm bumping. Let's get these people in here and we'll start busting down some stories.
Yeah, throw down an emoji party. Where's JoJo? Get us something going, JoJo. Who's in there?
Kelly, what's up, Kelly? Welcome in. Thank you for being here.
What's up, Kelly?
I think the last hour tonight, well, so when we go to do off topic, I'm going to open up the forum for everybody and drop a link in the comments. So make sure you watch
What's
for the
up,
link
Kelly
to
Belly?
be able to join. If you want to go ahead and join the live during the last hour, we'll join the live and you guys will be able to join and ask questions or view opinions. If you want to put your view on what we've discussed tonight out there in the open, you could do that. And then we're also going to have a farewell after party, you know what I mean? Because this is the last episode of the We on the Porch podcast. And this episode will only be broadcast live right now. Once it is over, you will no longer be able to see it. So stick around, folks, if you're here. We will be getting into the racial topic. We will be getting into the topic of where, you know, the lines are drawn and where the lines really are. You know what I mean? So if these fucking fools would stop chimping out, as they say nowadays, in the background, we'd be all right. You know what I mean? Shit.
On the subject of racial tensions,
What's up with this whole concept of what do they call it? What are they calling it?
Wait, what? I'm lost.
I don't know. Everybody's saying something about fucking being. I don't know what it's called. What's it called?
6'7", 6'7".
Not 6'7".
Oh God.
What do they call? Oh, black fatigue. That's what they're calling it.
Oh
Black
yeah.
fatigue.
What the fuck is black
so this whole
fatigue?
black fatigue that they're running around and talking about, right? That's a ploy. Like I'm trying to tell people, they've done this time and time again. As soon as things start to simmer down, they'll start throwing plants out. They'll start throwing people out to try to get the racial tensions back up. If you were born in the Bay Area, bro, the racial tension has never really been racial tension, right? There's been racial issues amongst certain, you know, groups of people. The political issue has been with prison mainly, right? So
Yeah.
the prison politics is what creates the racial issue when it came to the Bay Area. It wasn't just your normal groups of skinheads mobbing down the block. It
Yeah, I know.
wasn't, you know, your regular fucking Aryan Brotherhood, hey brother, as you're walking down the fucking street, right? And it's not going to be like that today. You go into anywhere, and if somebody's racist, they're not going to come out and just be like, hey, bro, I'm racist. Get the fuck off my lawn. Like, that's just not the way people fucking operate. You know what I mean? That's what they want you to fucking think, but that's not the way that it, you know?
They go like this. They go,
Yeah.
you know what I fucking think? They do it like that.
Yeah,
They
exactly,
kind of
bro.
fucking live
So,
around with it.
and it's kind of always been that way. And I would love to touch on pattern recognition versus racism, right? Because that's where a lot of people get shit misconstrued, is that anybody who lives on this fucking planet has pattern recognition. You know, if you see a tatted back white dude, he's 112 pounds and his jaw's going back and forth, don't leave your fucking car unlocked when you walk in the fucking door. You know what I'm saying? That fool tweaking, your car gonna disappear. You know, so it's like, it doesn't have anything to do with a skin color, dude. It has everything to do with recognizing what people who do certain crimes may look like. You know what I mean? It's just like a general description. Like, you're not going to be like, hey, the dudes that are down there on the corner wearing a suit and a tie are fucking getting ready to rob the store. But that's just not the way it works, bro. So, you know what I'm saying? Pattern recognition has a lot to do with what they use to classify as racism. Now, I also believe, right, when you go into the topic of, can people of minority or other ethnic group, now it's funny how you say minority, right? Because if you look up California alone, which is where I live, right, we are the minority in California. If you look up the demographic on California, California is a majority white state. No, it's not. You look it up, it's not a majority white state. It's a majority, it's 40% Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? 15% Asian. Like, so, and I think it's like 8 or 9% black and 32% white. So it's like, they don't, the majority has nothing to do with it except for when it comes to crime statistics, right? So when it comes to crime statistics, there was 3 million more arrests made on white people than there was on black people, right? So it's like 4.7 million and 1.8 million. Yeah. 4.7 for the white, 1.8 for the black. But amongst that, the murder crime was higher in black. And at a 6% populous rate amongst most areas. That's what they try to say, is that most areas, the population is between 6 and 26% for higher populated areas. So they like to live on this concept of white people fear black people, therefore white people are racist. And I could tell you right now, I know plenty of people that don't fear you because of the color of your skin. They're just not gonna. And I know plenty of people that are gonna not fear you and give you the time of the day. Doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? Because in the end, a person should be judged on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Right? So it's like, I know plenty of people that are white that I would not even let come into my yard or around my kids. I know plenty of people that are fucking Mexican that I would not come into my yard or around my kid, because I know them and I know who they are and I know what they do and I know what kind of fucking people they are, right? Been around them, seen them on the block my whole life, whatever the situation may be, know the content of their character, and they just ain't the type of people that I keep in my fucking circle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But on the contrary, I got songs and albums with people of damn near every nationality, right? Because it's not a race, bro. We're all the same race, dog. It's a nationality, which is why people get shit fucked up, because they want to talk about, oh, you're a racist. Well, listen, bro, it's prejudice across the board, right? So when they say, oh, are black people racist? No, they're prejudiced. Well, what's the difference? What's the difference in prejudice and racism? right?
Yeah, there's not a big difference except what skin.
See,
It's not
I don't.
even
There
skin.
is
That's
no.
not even that's what they want you to think, but that's
There's
not
no
even the
real
difference.
this. Okay,
Prejudice is
it,
judging somebody before you know them. That's judging somebody before you've based it on the content of your character, which would be
racism is a
racism
form
all
of
the way across the
ignorance
board.
because
Right.
just when you put the term racism, you know what I'm saying? I understand if you were to say you're an ethnicist, you don't like people because of their ethnicity, you know. I even understand if you say you're a nationalist, you know. But to call yourself, but the term racist is such an ignorant term because we are the human race. Okay, doesn't matter, you know, which portion of what population our ancestors fucking migrated the Earth from. You know what I'm saying? We are all human beings on the face of this goddamn Earth. Now the fact is the government since the Civil War has pushed that racial divide. You know, it
Yeah,
was a
100%. And you know, it's there's shit that's ran back and forth. We like I said, me and Mikey, our family runs deep, bro. Our family is from the South, right? So I mean what you would
yep,
consider the South. And you know, they had some idealistic views, and those were pushed through the lineage, right? And luckily our grandma moved out to the Bay Area, and with a rough start, we were still able to have a fucking chance. You know what I'm saying? Because the way that we were both raised, we could have came out very different people. Very,
yeah.
very different people. And it
You know,
started along that path for a hot minute,
it
you know?
did. It did. I know what I know. Spending a lot of time around that part of the family, what I was raised around, what the beliefs were, what the core values were. You know, you know,
Well,
and as
and
I got,
even with you, the dude across the street we were just talking about that fucking is no longer here. You know what I mean? Like
mm-hmm,
that there was heavier influence, and I, you know, that's the thing, is there was heavier influence around you because you were there in the middle of the shit. I was there, you know, off and on, because when I was with my mom, that shit was not relevant at all around the household. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but then I'd go around my dad and fucking, like I said, we'd be fucking kicking it with all prison Peckerwoods and fucking, you know what I mean, Aryan Brotherhood
right,
cats and Nazi
yeah,
lowriders and fucking, those are all the people that were around us that we were fucking set to look up to. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
for
It,
uh for that shit, and then and this fool lives in the projects, so we're in the projects where you got the black family living right across the street. That's the homies. We're kicking it with them kids, and
right,
you
we were in
got
the same
fools
struggle.
over here like, what are you doing kicking it with them kids? You know, we're like, what do you mean? Like, what's the problem? And they're like, what you mean, what's the problem? And it's like, that's what I mean, what's the problem? You know, so like, as a kid you don't understand, and then you get pressed with
Exactly, we
these
weren't.
views, and you get pressed with this bullshit, and then, you know, I'm just
See, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you were born on, man. It is taught. It's not something that's learned because we naturally gravitate to one another as human beings. It's part of what's kept this species going. But it is something that is handed down and taught. It is not something that is naturally inherent.
no. And so to say that, okay, so since you went there, we only got 5 viewers. I didn't want to really get into this story with less than 10, but we'll get into it. Fuck it, because the real ones are here. So when I was 12 years old, 13 years old, right? Let's see, 13, eighth grade, 13 years old. The movie American History X came out, right?
Right.
So
Good ass movie.
my dad had just went to prison, and American History X came out, and I was at my grandma's house. My grandma's last name is White. That's why we dubbed this the White episode, right? So I was at my grandma's house going through some of my dad's clothes and shit that were there while he was in prison, snagging some shit because I was 13. I was at that age where I could start wearing his shit, you know what I mean? And I found a shirt that had big old lightning bolts on it. And it said support your local white boy on that motherfucker, right? So I brought that bitch to school. I'm like, fuck it. I threw that bitch on and I was like, I'm getting it. So I show up at school, right? I got my head shaved, I got my shit on. And the yard duty walks up And she goes, you gotta take that shirt off. And I go, I ain't taking this shirt off. She goes, yeah, you gotta take that shirt off. I go, why I gotta take the shirt off for? She goes, because it's offensive. I go, well, who is it offending? I don't see it offending nobody. She goes, it offends me. I go, why does it offend you? Because you're a nigger lover and the kids are half-breeds? And she was like, what? And I was like, it's the truth, ain't it? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and that's, so short story longer, right? I end up in the principal's office over this shit. And they put they made me, I wouldn't turn the shirt inside out. So they made me put a garbage bag on. They put a hole over a garbage bag, made me put a garbage bag on to cover the shirt up. And they start bringing in, they brought in the lunch lady, right? She was a black lady. They brought her in. And she goes, the principal goes, you don't like her because she's black? I go, no, she cool. She hooks me up with extra tater tots and shit at lunch. It's good. You know what I mean? What are you even talking about? And then they bring in the janitor, James, right? I remember this cat. They bring in the janitor. He's a black dude, old black dude, white beard and shit. They're like, you don't like James just because he's black? I'm like, bro, James is cool as fuck. Like, he always says what's up in the hallway. What are you even doing? Right? So in my mind, like, I'm not even knowing why he's bringing, like, all the black people in. Like, that's not even, I'm not comprehending that, right? Because I'm not looking at it as like a race thing. It's more like a pride thing at that point, in my eyes. Right. So in my eyes, it's more like a pride thing. It's not like hate everybody else because of who they are. It's more like be proud of yourself because of who you are. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, I'm damn near confused on why they're being so janky with bringing everybody in type shit. And then apparently they're trying to call my mom. My mom's not answering the phone. So they bring in my grandma. And now I'm like, and not grandma, my mom's mom. Right. So my mom's mom comes in, and my mom's mom has never been, there wasn't a racist bone in that lady's body. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when she comes in and they tell her what's going on, she's just like slapping me and pulling me out the shit, and I'm fucking crying and not knowing what the fuck's going on, right? So I end up getting expelled because I had a knife too, and some dude called me fat, and some shit happened, right? So I got expelled that year. Had to do some little off-campus shit for the rest of the year. And then I went to the continuation school the very next year, right? So I get to the continuation school, and this is not what I'm used to, right? I'm not used to the people. This is like the fools that are like in juvenile hall. Like, this is where they're going to school at. From like Richmond, all these different places, right? So I come in, and there's like these three dudes that I had known when they were 8th graders, and I was like a 6th grader and 7th grader because it was one of my homies' older brothers. Well, by the time I got to this school, like, they were all skinheads at this point. They must have watched American History X too and been like, I'm gonna go curb stomp a motherfucker or something, because they was just shaving heads and running around burning swastikas in themselves and gnarly shit, right? And this would be 99 at this point, right? So 99. So I come in 99, and I'm in this school. There's about 4 fucking skinhead dudes, Doc Martens, suspenders, the whole fucking get up, right? So I'm naturally, because of the whole incident that had just happened, I'm gravitating that way. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time as this is going on, Farley is over on a different table with a couple dudes from North Richmond, 2 white dudes and a black dude, and they're rapping all lunch, every lunch. That's what they do. They just sit over there and rap. And the skinheads sit on the other table and talk shit about them, and talk shit about the white dudes who are hanging out with the black dudes. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like this, it's like a little mini prison yard, bro. They like threw me into a little mini prison yard, you know? And I'm just like, not knowing what the fuck. I'm like, okay. So naturally, because of everything that's kind of going on and being pressed right now, I'm leaning this way. So short story, even longer, right? This motherfucker ends up, one of the dudes, he's from like Concord or some shit, right? That's going out there. So he ends up on the under falling in love with the sister of the black kid from Richmond that's sitting on the bench rapping every day. right? So they get dropped off every day, and he's over there like, you know what I mean? But realistically, he's like over there under the bridge with this bitch after school every day type shit. So they end up, so his boys end up finding out, right? His boys end up finding out what's going on and waiting for her to get out of the car one day. And as soon as she gets out of the car one day and he goes to make his little fucking noise shit, they grab him up by his hoodie and just stomp him out in front of the school and fucking slices fucking his little tattoos and shit off his arms right there in front of everybody. And I'm just like, oh shit, this is crazy, right? So I'm like, what the fuck is really going on? And then like the dude, Jimmy ends up getting into it. Oh, so we'll go backwards. Let's go back one lane and let's go back to just before the shirt, right? So just before the shirt and the expulsion and all this kid Royce had showed up at school, right? I wanted to get in the Danny and Royce incident. And if I get too far ahead, I won't come back to it. So we'll drop in with the Danny and Royce incident, right? So 8th grade. Same exact year, just before this happened. We got this kid Royce. I think he came from Richmond, and he was like a football player, played for the youth football league and shit, right? Little stout kid. He was stout, bro. Dude was stout. So we're sitting in the what's it called? The cafeteria, right? Lunchroom, cafeteria. So we're sitting in the cafeteria, and if you remember benches in the 90s in the cafeteria, they folded up and slid into the wall. Right? And when they slide out, it has the hard bench that you sit on, like the cast type bench that goes all the way across. So hella kids can sit across it. So this dude, Danny, walked by. So he had already got into a fight with Royce once, but it was at PE, and they just kind of chunked him for a minute. PE teacher got in the middle. That was a wrap. So about a week later, and Royce is black and Danny is white, by the way. So we're coming out the lunch line. Royce is already sitting down into the table, and as we walk by, Danny grabs his tray. Danny not a big dude either. He kind of stout too. He played football and shit, but he just wasn't a big dude, right? So, and we're all 8th graders, so none of us are big dudes. But I mean, some of the dudes out here did sports and shit, so they were a little more jacked for being a 13-year-old than most motherfuckers were, right? So Danny slides his tray off the shit, and Royce jumps up and grabs that fool by the back of his head, bro, and just starts beating his head into that bench, like the bench, not the table part, but the bench. And that fool fucking like out cold, slammed his head till he was out cold, stuck his head on the side of the bench, bro, and just jumped up and gorilla stomped that fool's head, dog. Like they flew in a flight helicopter, fucking flew the dude out of the school. So that right there caused like a little like racial turmoil like 2 weeks before all this shit happened, right?
Crazy.
So back to where I was before. We end up a year later, and I'm at the continuation school. So now I'm at the continuation school, and fucking all this shit goes down with the little skins, right? And then Jimmy gets into a fight with Carlos. Carlos is a white boy. I don't know why his name was Carlos, but Carlos is a white boy. he was like the main little skinhead dude, right? So Jimmy was like one of the white boys from the other bench, but he wasn't really a white boy. He like kicked it with the dudes who were rapping and shit. He kicked it with whoever, right? So they end up going out, getting in a fight. Jimmy got a lighter in his hand, pops Carlos in the forehead, and the lighter explodes, and Carlos' forehead is like out to here. Jimmy yanks out a buck 110 and just starts like dinking on this fool. And everything imploded, right? So then all the little, and I hadn't inserted myself anywhere at this point yet. I was kind of still floating because I always kind of been like that. I kind of fuck with everybody a little bit, right? So I'm still kind of floating, seeing what's going on, and all this shit goes down. And while all this shit's going down, one of the dudes that was like punk rock, almost thought he was skinhead, like had shaved his head but left like a little patch of hair right here, like super flamboyant, right? So he's wearing a hat, right, and got his hat on, and I'm sitting next to him, and I'm fucking with him. I'm like, Ryan, take your hat off. Let me see your haircut. And he's like, no. And I'm like, come on, let me see your haircut. He's like, nah, man, leave me alone. We're reading the newspaper, right? And I'm like, come on, man, let me see your shit. He's like, dude, just fucking leave it alone, all right? I was like, all right, bro. So I rolled up the newspaper and I flicked his hat off his head hella fast, right? And everybody started laughing as his little fucking cockatoo hair started flapping out, right? Everybody started laughing, and this fool stands up and just socks me inside the head. Blam, right? And I was like, I just sat there and I was like holding the desk, and I'm just like, this motherfucker really just hit me?
Stung you.
I'm like, he just hit me. So he sits down, he puts his hat back on, and everybody like went from laughing to like, oh. And I'm just sitting there, and he sits down, and he looks over at me, and I didn't look at him. I was just chilling, and he grabbed his pen, and he went to start writing again, and I picked up that little metal garbage can right next to the desk, and I just started beating his fucking head in the desk. Bro, the teacher jumped across the desk. He was a basketball coach, too. Jumped across the desk and just clotheslined me into the fucking wall. Bam! The principal comes running through the fucking door. What happened? He's like, oh, Larry tripped. I was like, it was fucking gnarly, bro.
That's
So
right.
then we ended up having like the teacher, me and him were gonna funk after that. It was a wrap, you know. So the teacher was like, fuck that. I gotta fucking deal with both of you the rest of the year, woo-de-woo. And so he brought gloves in the next day. And he's like, here, y'all can fucking box it out. You know what I mean? So he's like, I don't want to see no headshots, and I don't want to see no nut shots, and don't fucking kick each other. And I was like, all right, let's go. And so we start going, and I'm just fucking dinking him, bro. I'm giving him fucking kidney shots and fucking side of the fucking lung shots up in his rib cage. And that fool, I started lighting him up so hard he couldn't do nothing but reach back and fucking break my nose. So this motherfucker breaks my nose, snaps it sideways, bro, and I'm leaking everywhere. And the only ones, bro, like this bitch, this crazy bitch, started drinking my blood. She was kicking it with the skins. So she starts drinking my blood and shit out of my nose. And I'm just like, I was like, and I look over, and Farley and somebody else grabbed me up, gave me a towel, was talking to me and shit. And after that, I just was like all the fucking skins, except for that fucking fag Ryan, were fucking got arrested for slicing that fool up in front of the school and shit. And it just ended up being like all the fools from Richmond. And then I ended up jumping in the car in a 5.0 with this white kid and this Mexican kid and Farley and then this black kid. And we all smashed to the fucking Blockbuster Video and got some movies and shit and went back and we're watching movies. And then these fools took me out to Richmond and took me into North Richmond, fucking around the hood and shit. And I just was like, why am I even trying to act the way that these motherfuckers are trying to make me act right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, this is the shit that I've always done and been into. What the fuck am I over here trying to fucking act like I want to wear some steel toe boots and some suspenders? What the fuck I'm gonna look like? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I had like an epiphanic moment right there. And I was just like, what the fuck is this, right? So, fuck, short story, way longer, dog. I end up back at the high school. So at the high school. So when I went to the continuation school was my freshman year. So I ended up sophomore year at the high school that was in town, right? Tell me why I walk up from my first day of school and the fucking yard duty standing there is that same fucking yard duty from the junior high. She done got a job at the high school now. So now she's working at the high school.
Your handler.
So I walk up, right? I walk up and I go, hey, Sandy. And she looks at me and she just kind of shakes her head a little bit. And I go, hey, man, I just want to tell you, I apologize from the bottom of my heart for saying that shit. That was out of pocket as fuck. I don't know why the fuck I would ever think it's okay to fucking speak to you that disrespectfully. You know what I'm saying? I really do. I apologize. She goes, come here, baby. And she gave me a hug. She goes, don't worry about it. It wasn't you. You ain't like that. She goes, that was what they were trying to teach you to be like. Don't listen to that shit. You be you. And I was like, right on, girl. That, bro, she had my back the whole way through high school. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, sometimes you could be on the wrong path, bro. And it takes some shit that you did and some shit to open your eyes. And then that what is that amends, right? Kind of making that amends, just going up and be like, hey, bro, I know I fucked up, dude. And that's almost more for you than it is for them sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because that, like, hearing the way that she embraced me after how fucking just disgustingly rude I was to her at that minute in life, you know what I mean? Like, that was solid, bro. And she impacted my life a lot after that. And I ended up really fucking just making a all around change on just the perspective of people in general, right? Because it was never like you would never go over to like somebody's house and they just be like, oh yeah, let's go. We're hating black people and we're fucking fuck all these people. They're coming in and stealing all our shit and fucking taking our jobs. But I didn't deal with that. That just wasn't a normal thing. But like that, like sly racism, like fucking, like I said, that like prison politic racism, that fucking wearing swastikas and not really knowing why you're wearing them type shit, just because everybody was doing it and it looked cool. That fucking, you know, that like that was the shit that really I feel like was propagandized. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Propagandized.
Yeah.
That's the shit that like they were like pushing, and you were like, "Oh, that shit's dope, bro. What the fuck?" You know what I mean? And one of the movies that is really not talked about a lot that came out in that same time period. So I feel like American History X, if you watch the movie's a fucking great movie.
What
I don't
about
feel
Higher
like
Learning?
it's racist
Best
at
fucking
all.
movies
And I
ever
honestly
made.
feel like it's showing you how people that are racist or have grown up in households that had that undercover fucking systemic racist view and kind of push that ideology can come back from that no matter how far they've went. Right. So that's what I feel like you're supposed to take from that story. Now,
Right.
when you watch Higher Learning, right,
Oh, fuck.
that's literally Hollywood stirring the fucking pot, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's all that is. That's Hollywood stirring the pot, especially using Ice Cube and
Yeah.
fucking that's
And Michael
I should
Rappaport.
have looked
Jada
up so I
Pinkett
can
and
name drop
shit.
because I don't remember all them other motherfuckers' names right now. But there was a lot of motherfuckers like that dude that's going around right now talking about the war in Jerusalem and how nobody's giving him this is the crazy part. I just remembered this, bro. So there's that dude. Who is he? What's his name? Could somebody look him up for me because my shit's not working? It's the dude with the curly hair.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how he's always supported the black community and all this shit. And now that there's the war in Jerusalem, ain't nobody having his back and blah, 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 blah. You know who I'm talking about?
Nah.
It's the shooter from fucking Higher Learning. How you
Oh,
gonna play
Michael
the shooter,
Rappaport.
bro, in Higher Learning and then talk about how you
Michael,
always had
yeah, that's Michael
the back of the
Rappaport.
black community? Huh?
Yeah, it's Michael Rappaport.
Or
Michael
it's
Rappaport.
it's
So
back to
Michael
the ghetto
Rappaport is
you
talking
go.
about the war in Jerusalem right now and how he's always fucking supported the black community, but you played the shooter in Higher Learning?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You feel me? So it's like you act like fools don't remember where you came from, bro. And that's the shit. It's like he could have never been racist in his life. He could have just played a role. It could have had absolutely nothing to do with his views on life in general, period. Right? But you play a role like that, people remember you for a role like that, and then all of a sudden you're the racist. You know, so you just gotta remember that like the topics tonight are definitely the ones that get people canceled, get people talk shit about, whatever the situation may be, man. But just understand that you should not hate on any human being based on their views or the way they think about life, because you might be that one person that could say something to them that could change the fucking views that they have. Right?
Yeah.
So don't spread hate, bro. Spread love, spread knowledge, right? And educate people. Because you could be the person, bro, that saves somebody's life. You could be there's more stories of people who have grown up in households of generational racism and generational hate for just people that are not them, right? So it doesn't have to be against blacks. It could be against Mexicans. It could be any of them. And it's like that's why I'm saying they act like Like, bro, you know, Chinese people are some of the most racist people in the world.
Nope.
Oh hell yeah,
Totally, it's just crazy.
100%,
100 fucking
bro.
percent.
I know, but they
And
make it seem like
in
Yeah, that we
other
cool with
Asians,
all y'all. Eat some rice.
Yeah.
Like,
you ever
you know
call
what I'm saying?
you ever call a Korean person Chinese?
Come on.
Oh fuck!
Bro,
Oh, cool.
I am not a Chinese. I am a Korean. You
I'll-
motherfucker.
so this is my point, right?
You
Is that
Korean.
they want to act like just because, you know, there was some racist motherfuckers back in the day that, and I'm gonna tell you, even back in the day, there was a lot of people that were not racist at all, but because, so listen, this is the thing you got to understand: women, there weren't very many women who were racist back in the day, right? They had to conform to the ideology that was around them so that they weren't ostracized and outcasted, right? So you got to remember that. If you come up in a time period or if you come up in an area where that is what is being fucking pushed, if you are the lone soldier, if you are the one that doesn't want to be pushed out and you ain't got no heart or no balls, you're going to do what everybody else is doing just so you ain't fucking ate up by the wolf, you know?
Yes, sir.
So there's definitely that's where, you know, the Underground Railroad was ran by people who did not want to conform to the fucking bullshit views that the government was putting on motherfuckers, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, do I believe in slavery? Fuck no. Do I believe it happened? Yeah, I believe it happened. I'm not ignorant, right?
You
I
are.
understand it happened. Do I believe it happens today? Yes, I believe it happens today. Do I believe it happens to black people? No, I do not believe it happens to black people. But there are plenty of people who are enslaved right now as we fucking speak.
See,
It has been something that has been instilled since the very beginning of the fucking earth. Since the very beginning of the earth, there has been slavery. There has been people who have been taken in and made to have to do whatever somebody else tells them to do without being paid for it, and told that them having a place to live was what they were getting paid for it, right? Well,
Yeah.
bitch, I'll go live under a rock. I'll live under a tree. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can't say, it drives me kind of crazy when slavery is the big precursor to, they're like, oh, slavery. It's like, what
slavery.
you mean slavery? My people were
Slavery existed
enslaved.
long before the Europeans.
No, my people were enslaved. You don't
Yeah.
hear me bitching about it.
For real, people
My
don't want to
people were
talk about that.
enslaved
That's
like
the
a
only
motherfucker, bro.
slavery that ever
You
gets
gonna
talked
tell me
about
my people weren't
is black
enslaved, but
slavery.
it took me 40 years to try to have a life? Yeah. So there's white people whose families were enslaved, and that's why they have never been able to have any kind of generational wealth, because that name is always linked to that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it don't matter if they weren't enslaved by black people, right? So there's black people that have been enslaved by other black people. There was slavery in Africa before there was slavery in America.
Dude,
How do you think that
dude, black
we
people
got
sold
most
black
of the
people.
slaves that we got? They were sold
Yeah.
to us. We didn't just go capture them like everybody tries to say we did. It wasn't like we went through and just captured a bunch of tribes people and brought tribes people out and threw them in the middle of the woods and told them to do some shit.
Yeah.
They'd have never been able to communicate with us, bro.
Hey,
You
know
feel
what?
me? That ain't the way. Not in the 100 years or however many years slavery was there. How many years was slavery there? A couple hundred years?
Slavery is as old as civilization itself.
No. I mean the slavery they talk about in America.
Oh, that happened for quite a long time, actually.
Can somebody
400
Google this shit? We got
400
Google.
400 years.
400, but it's 200. 200 for the real people think. It's 200.
In
200
recorded
years?
American
200
history, it
years
went
of
on
slavery.
for about
That's
200
a
years.
long
200
fucking
years
time.
of slavery.
That's too long.
Even then, slavery ended, but the separation in the United States. I mean,
Yes,
even
and
when
so
you and I were in
that's
school,
what I'm saying.
integration was still a fairly new thing when you and I were in school.
100%, which is why it was so easily for us to be influenced the way we were, because the idea of let's all just get along was brand fucking new.
And you know
Brand
what
new.
else too? The
So that's
fact
what
that
I'm
you
saying.
guys grew up
So
in
for
Cocoa
slavery
County.
to be 200 years of slavery, right? 200 years of slavery from us to them is the way they look at it, right? It's a us versus them thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people do that. Like, why has the propaganda and government and all that shit been able to stir motherfuckers' heads enough to run
They've been. That's how they have done it since.
Yeah.
No, I think what it is I think that it's the segregation that everybody's mad about, and they use the slavery as their backer because that's the big one.
They get them
right.
They
It's not because slavery. If you think about the overall length of slavery in some places and countries of specific groups of people, some of that shit lasted way longer than 200 years. So it's like at that point, I think the anger comes from the segregation, right? The feeling like you're less of a person, because you could be a slave being any color of your skin and you're going to feel like less of a person. And when you feel like less of a person, that's where the anger comes in, right? So at that point, segregation really solidified the fact that the world viewed people of another color as segregation. I mean, as lesser of a person. And with the fucking the LDS church coming out and acting like fucking being black was a curse and all this different shit that they were pushing. Yeah, that's Latter-day Saints. So all of that shit pushing the fact that, you know, if you were white, you were pure, white puritanism. Why, you know what I'm saying? That it's all fucking propaganda, bro. And what sucks is that people really feed into propaganda, and people really use propaganda, and people really turn statistics and numbers around, and it tends to fuck a lot of things up for people. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, I feel like some of us were doomed from the fucking get-go just because we were white. Right? Just because we were white, we were pressured to act and be a certain way.
Especially at a certain time where
even if you didn't want to be and act a certain way, you were pressured to be and act a certain way. And I feel like the black community deals with that a lot too, right?
Yeah, that's where I was.
Well, that's the narrative that's been pushed to them.
That's where it's like you could grow up and just be the gentle kid that's kicking it, not giving a fuck about nothing, and they're pressuring you to hop off the porch, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for lack of better words. So at that point, I feel like it really does go in the hands of, you know, parents and the people that you let around your children, and the shows you watch and the movies you watch and the things you surround yourself with. All these different fucking things that are going into your brain are slowly changing your concept on shit, right? So it's like I said, like Mikey was saying earlier, like, there's fools that think that you're born gay. I believe you're born gay before I believe you're born racist.
Oh yeah,
that's the fuck now.
Easy to
I believe you're born gay before I believe you're born racist. I mean, you got to be made to be racist, bro. You got to have bad shit happen to you. You got to have people influencing you in your ear.
That tells you that it's just an idea.
It is. Yeah. That's all it is. It's an idea.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Ideology. That's it.
Yeah.
Because we're all here to interact with each other, bro. You may not appreciate the way somebody acts, so you just don't interact with them. That's an individual thing. That has nothing to do with like a whole, you know, fucking ethnic group of people. That's where you get it wrong. Like,
exactly.
The old lady on the block might just not like the ones that fucking wear their pants down past their ass and fucking drop clips out of their fucking pocket when they're walking down the street and fucking wear a mask like they're getting ready to rob a store. Maybe she just don't like them. And that could be a Mexican guy. She don't know if he's a black guy. You know, so it's like you got to understand pattern recognition was something I brought in the beginning. That's a big one. Damn, 46 minutes. I'll take a breath. I'll take a breather. Y'all could talk.
Yeah, you take a breather.
I don't know, bro.
What do you think about that?
This one viewer in here is bullshit, but I love you, dude. But the rest of y'all motherfuckers should be here.
We only have one viewer in here.
One fucking viewer right now for the white episode, bro.
That's crazy, guys.
That is crazy.
Just one viewer?
I just broke it down for y'all too. I just told y'all like my whole like exchange of ideology that I had. So I hope y'all appreciated it. I hope y'all took it for what it was, man, and understand that, you know.
Oh yeah, bro.
Influence your kids the right way, bro, because some of the shit you could be saying and not even knowing you're saying it could be changing your kids' views. You could just be an old head talking shit about one person and slip up and be like, oh, I hate these fucking beaners. And now your kid's going to run around and be like, hey, dude, what's a beaner? You know, like, what the fuck? Like, so just
wind up in a whole nother Farley incident.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry, Farley. I apologize. I swear, I am sorry to this day.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's another thing. Like, it's crazy to me that so when my dad was around me, he didn't act like that, right?
That's
so
what that's the
thing that he thought that it was fucking okay to like influence somebody in that.
That's what I grew up with. That's the part of him I got.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's fucked up. I think that's fucked up that he thought that it was okay to like influence somebody like that. To basically, he like was fucking treating you like a parrot, like thinking it was cool to fucking make you say stupid ass fucking shit. Like, oh, look at the cute little white kid saying fucking nigger. Like, what the fuck, bro? That shit drives me nuts, you know? And that's my pops, bro. He old and now he thinks he's black, but ain't that crazy? Now he's old and thinks he's black.
It's like, son, have you heard of this Tupac guy? I think he really had something to offer.
No, so that's the wild part, is that my dad was literally slapping fucking Mac Dre and Too Short and all that shit back then.
You know what's funny is
fake,
that shit is so common though. Like you have like the most racist motherfucking white boys, but they all listen to Andre Nicotina and fucking Brother Lynch.
Exactly, because
See,
it was all for show, bro.
I did not get that, Scotty. That's not the Scotty bro. I got.
Yeah, all for show, bro.
I got the complete opposite, Scotty. You know, and everybody that he hung around, bro, that's what they were about. You know?
Yeah, 100%. But they were slapping.
There were a lot of them that were like hardcore Peckerwoods or career criminal white boys, you know, and that was their life. That's what it was about. It was all about the politics, you know?
Yes, 100%, bro. And that's where the lines get blurred, bro, because all them fools would be in prison, but the second they hit the streets, they're all out in Antioch and Pittsburgh, like copping from the Mexicans and the fucking black dudes, right?
Hey,
and
like
that was another
on
thing
American History X.
American History X movie, you know, it was like, so that's the thing, is that like,
he's like, what the fuck is he doing?
Fools that are like that's really just it. Racist, like have no reason to even be racist. Like there's not so I can understand if you have like a hatred against a group of people that like do something to you. I can understand black people being racist. Full blown. I got full blown understanding. 100%.
Yeah, they have a really.
They got a reason.
Yeah, they have a reason. We don't have.
Exactly. They have a fucking
But you
reason,
know what?
right?
At what point do you finally evolve and go like, okay, you know what happened in the past, you know the route that took you to where you are. At what point do you start telling your kids, okay, like this ain't cool for us to keep thinking like this and viewing the world like this and other races like this because it can't continue forever. That
It
shit
was
can't.
happening late 80s, early 90s, dog, and then they fucking twisted it all up.
But I'm just
It was
saying,
that
like
you could go
today,
look at studies, bro. You could go look at videos where people are literally they got them on YouTube, bro. It's like news reporters walking around. They're like walking around talking to black people, and they're like, "What do you guys think about white people?" And they're like, "Oh, they're pretty cool. You know, they're like we see them walking down the street. They dress nice and they look good when they go to work. Like it's normal ass shit. Like you know what I'm saying? So then he go down and he's like at Radio Shack and he comes out and he has to and this is like 88 or 86 or some shit, right? And he's like, what do you think about the new influx of black people coming into the neighborhood? And he's like, they seem pretty nice. I bumped into a couple of them in the store and like, you know,
my
they
rent,
said
my
hi. They were
rent's gone
friendly.
down $300.
Yeah, it was like literally normal ass shit. It was just like, oh, some new guys are moving into the neighborhood.
They're like questioning why they're being questioned about it.
Yes, exactly. And that was the start, right? You're coming and you're starting to like stir up these questions and you're like, how's it going? And they're like, well, what do you mean? Like, why would you ask me how it's going? Like, is it not normal? You know? So, and that's the thing is that they really pressed for desegregation. And then once desegregation happened, everybody was for it. It was like once it happened, everybody was like, "Oh, cool, right on, we're all desegregated." Yeah. Like as it happened, not right in the beginning. I mean, as it happened, right in the beginning, it was like little by little steps going on. But by the 80s, like you said, by the 80s, it was like no matter what school you went into, there wasn't no real segregation going on anymore. So it was like that's when we were like, oh yeah, it was normalized to just know people and communicate with people and be amongst people, right? It was normalized. And then the media comes back in and starts throwing, you know, Higher Learning in, which is a college movie with mixed students in there, and it's got a Black Panther movement group of people and a skinhead movement group of people, and it ends up evolving into a school shooting.
Yeah, it went from that to the whole traveled all the way into reality, like
into the school shooting. Yeah. So it's like that's what, and they literally took it and was like, oh, Columbine must have been racial in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
I always thought
what
that
I'm saying? They fucking dude. They know how to play with our heads, bro. They've been doing it for years. So it's about time that people just really understand that, like, no matter who you are or what your skin tone is, if you can't feed your baby, you're gonna run up in a fucking store and get the food that you need to feed your baby. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you spun out and tweaking and need to get from here to Antioch, you're gonna steal a car and you're gonna get from here to Antioch. Like it don't matter. It don't matter. So no matter the statistics, no matter what the bullshit is, right? I believe you have more racist black people than you do white people when it really comes down to it. I believe white people don't like it when people steal their shit and make them feel like they can't go out to eat without people yelling around and fucking creating problems or fucking trying to fucking, you know, it's just that's it. Like if you know a certain area acts a certain way, don't fucking go there if you don't want to be there and deal with that shit. You know.
Hey,
bro. Hey, do you know? Kind of unrelated.
And where it just happened to get them. That's where they are now, right? Not from when they have their, you know, when we start off as a white person or a black person, different skin color, doesn't stem from that.
What doesn't stem from that?
Any sort of racism?
No.
When
you're born, no.
Yeah, exactly. So
you ain't born racist.
So only the ideas that we're talking about right now brought
us.
I can remember being younger, growing up.
And by what I'm saying, so listen, I could tell you right now, there's people out there that still are like, fuck yeah, grab the rope, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's motherfuckers out there right now that are like, fuck yeah, kill Whitey. Like it that's just the way the world works, bro, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Bro, there's a viral video that's been on YouTube for years. It's a wood getting jumped by two northerners in Modesto, like downtown,
Yeah.
and he's standing his ground and shit. And he's like, "You guys fucking jump me! Like, what's up?" Like he's ready to. He's still flexing on him and shit. No, man, fuck
So
this
Suma,
KKK.
I just
Bro,
went over
the
that a
title.
second ago. I believe you could be born gay. I don't believe you could be born racist. And that being said, because I believe racism is an idea, gay isn't an idea.
Right. Yeah.
But no, the title of that video is fucking KKK member gets his ass beat, and it's like you can't. Motherfuckers don't even know like what the fucking KKK is or what the KKK was. This is just a dude who's a wood. He's not out. He wasn't out here fucking running up, talking shit, being racist and shit. It's just because he's white, they called him a KKK member, and everybody in the comments are like, "Good, man, fuck the KKK." It's like, bro, he's not in the fucking KKK. That's funny. You brought up American History X. Remember, he was all like KKK. He's like, what the fuck? He was like, what makes you think I'm being some fucking redneck inbred shit like the fucking KKK?
So my great granddaddy was the Grand Dragon of the KKK, dog.
Jeez.
Oh damn! My great grandfather was the tailor. He made the hoods and shit.
I actually know the chick that used to make all the patches for the Hells Angels too.
I'm just fucking. You talking about
I
Betty?
mean, it's on topic,
honestly,
but that is,
honestly, this whole show is probably going to get shut down in a minute and turned off, and we're going to get into the after party and start fucking popping it and letting the motherfucking thing be open. But honestly, I just was really trying to touch down on the fact that no matter what all these people
I'm gonna holler, guys. I'm gonna eat.
I be watching these videos, bro, and they're talking about all the Mexicans, they're talking about all the fucking bullshit, and it's like now they got Antifa and they got this anti-fascist movement and they got all this bullshit. And if you think about it, like that shit was all started for the Black Lives Matter movement, and now it's switching to the ICE movement. And then it's like, what are y'all really saying? Right? Like what's really being said here is that anybody who cares enough to try to keep their country under control is a racist, right? Because it's not like fools are in here trying to
The whole term racist, fascist, it's all been so overused that it's really lost its meaning, and people have really forgotten what those things are. Like my dad's side of the family came to this country to escape fascism. Okay, they left fascist Italy and came here. All right.
And it's listen.
Now,
at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, right? The news and the government and the media is gonna push.
It's fear mongering. It's propagandizing, and it's trying to create a divide within a group or a system. And in order to keep there from being homeostasis and everything to congeal and get along like it should in a natural system, there has to be chaos. There has to be a controlled chaos. They control the chaos rather well, and they've done it for hundreds of years. This is part of the reason why they've been able to do the things that they have done in this government and why it's gotten so tyrannical and out of control, is because they've been able to sit there and play puppet master and play one end against the other and create these false flag divisions that don't really exist, you know?
So have you seen the videos? Have you seen the videos of the Asian kid? He's they go into the, I don't know where the fuck it is. I should probably think of the town, but they go fuck with this dude, right? And he's got no teeth and he's a racist and he lives in like the most racist town in America or some shit. But these black kids go in there and Asian kids and all these people go to fuck with this dude, right? And they're like asking him questions and they're like, well, do you like it if I was your neighbor? And he's like, no. And he's like, the dude was like, you want to go out? Let's go get something to eat. He's like, I don't do no knees. no Chinese, no Japanese, no
Yeah.
Taiwanese. Like, but he hella funny. Like the shit he says is fucking hilarious, bro. And like he'll sit there and talk to these dudes, and like you could tell that it doesn't listen. There's people who they call racist because they're like, oh, we're not gonna mix our race, right?
Yeah.
Like we ain't like I would never date a black person. I would
Yeah,
never date a Mexican
that,
person.
that,
I would
that is,
never date right. So because you say that, you're racist. And it's like, nah, come over, have dinner. We could kick it, write a book, we can do a song, whatever the fuck you want, right? It don't matter. Like who you are as a person don't matter. That ain't my type. You know? So it's like, and then people are like, oh, you're racist. Like, wait, what? Really? That's crazy, bro. So,
Yeah,
like I said, that shit has really been thrown around and fucked up, but
I feel like that's just a term that they use nowadays for people they don't agree with. If you
yeah.
have a disagreeing view, oh, you're a racist
Mm-hmm.
or you're a fascist. You know,
Yeah, it happens. That's how we do. But
it's it's become no more than baboons flinging shit at that point. You know, it's a primal instinct that people seem to go for this day and age because they have no intellectual property of their own. They have to regurgitate what they've been fed. They're sheep.
100%. And
They
that's why the world is staying the fucking same way for the last 15, 20 years and is only getting worse because
Here's a really good example of things like the world I grew up in and you grew up in. Like, right? You know, there were people. We have racism around us, but inherently, no, we weren't racist, folk. You know, like I grew up in the projects, bro. We all waited for that same government truck every month. You know what I'm saying? We'd help each other carry boxes back to our mamas. You know, it was like we lived together, we broke together. Like when I got jumped, I didn't get jumped because of my skin color. I got jumped because I was in the wrong hood.
yeah.
No, I didn't get jumped because I was the wrong skin color. I got jumped because I was in the wrong hood.
Exactly. And see, that's what I'm saying. Once you get to, so once 13 passed, right? And you guys ended up moving out to Pittsburgh, and you know, there was like, it turned into a whole, that shit wasn't even heard of no more. So the second Pops went to prison the second time, there was no, like, grandma was kicking it with Mike Oler and like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like at that point, like the shit was really thick. Like we was all amongst likewise people. The house was full of fucking the black homies and the Mexican homies and the white homies, and we were all just people, bro. And
Yeah,
that was 2000 and 2001. You know what I'm saying? So it's like by the early 2000s, the shit had simmered down. The Bay was just the Bay. The movies had faded off. Shit wasn't getting stirred up. And then the war with Iraq happened, 01, right? So now everything shifted. Remember this. Everything shifted. There was no racial tension anymore. Everything was against the war in Iraq. All eyes shifted to fucking Muslims. It was all Muslims. No towel heads, no this, no that. The world shifted.
Yeah.
Or the United States shifted, should I say.
For our perspective of the world, for sure.
The United States shifted.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, there was no more, like, worrying about, like, nothing that had to do with any other races other than who's this dude driving this truck with a fucking rag on his head.
Everyone.
That's all it was, right? So
Everyone.
then all of a sudden that simmers down, right? And we got Trump, and Trump's battling the Mexicans. You know, so now with the police, that's where the racism started to kick back up again, right? So now it's like, oh, racism isn't a thing because we're all worried about this war and we got PTSD soldiers coming out. We got all this shit going on. So now what's going on? Now the media is drawing attention to the cops that are popping black dudes.
Yeah. I mean,
well, see,
and it had been happening since Rodney King, bro.
I don't have
Since
it.
Rodney King, they have been beating black people down when they pull them out of cars, dog. But all of a sudden now, in the past 10 years, that's what we were hearing about. And then the Black Lives Matter movement, and then all that shit came, and that just kicked fucking racial tension up for what?
Right? I remember after the whole Rodney King, bro, when Rodney King fucking, bro, when that shit went out, can't we all just get along? You had motherfuckers looking at each other like, yeah, you know what? Why can't we all just get along, man? Fuck the police. You know? Thug life.
That
And
was
fuck the
the
police.
quintessential saying
Fuck
for like what
for
2000.
was the problems. And see, everything was great. We had that type of peace, understanding, and prosperity, brotherhood. We were able to build and grow as communities, share like-minded views and opinions and ideas, and build a better foundation of which we were trying to raise our children on. And then in the early 2000s came along, and we all were focused on ending the war. We didn't want to be in any more wars, you know.
Yeah.
And then came the Obama era. The Obama era came, the next thing you know, racial tension started to flare up again. They were being shit thrown around, and it was all done for political reasons.
Yeah, but it wasn't. So when the Obama shit happened, that was like, no, not really. Like in certain maybe areas, people were pissed off and sparking up racial tensions. But when Obama was president, bro, that's when people were honestly like getting along, homie. Like the black people were like, fuck yeah, we got a black president. We can chill. We ain't got to worry about it. And that's when all of a sudden all the fucking white rappers started coming out. They're like, oh, we got a black president, I could be a white rapper. And like, you know what I'm saying? It started pressing like a whole new aspect of life. It changed a bunch of shit up. And since then, yeah, I know that, Andrew. But since then, there has been a black person in some form of office the entire time, right? So when they're trying to talk about how, like, the shit's moving backwards and there's no progression and blah blah blah, I don't see how people are so close-minded to the fact that like the world really isn't that racially tense, bro. They're trying to make it that way, but it's not. Like I could walk down the street and every black person I see, I could say what's up to, and they're gonna say what's up to me, and they're not gonna like feel like we're gonna have a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not. That's just not what's fucking going on right now.
God damn, the coyotes are going off tonight.
So that being said, man, I love and appreciate everybody that was here. Thank y'all for coming and seeing this shit. We're about to drop this off. This episode will never be seen again. So if you are here, man, you are the fucking lucky ones. We are coming back in about fucking 10 minutes, dude. We are going to do the after party. I'm going to have an open forum. You guys will be able to jump in and chat with us, dude. Come show your face, show some love, burn one back. Let's party it up. Holla at your boy. Farewell to the We on the Porch podcast, man. Episode 20, last episode. If you just got here, better hurry.